All right, check this out. This is the top of the Sphinx, and there's a guy standing in the hole is the top. And I'd like to know what's at the bottom of that hole, exactly what the material is. Now, this is what they did to patch that hole up. They did this and put a latch on the top to close it up. Now, they did say that they thought it might have been a hole that was bored there in antiquity to mount a headdress on this. Well, maybe. Or it might have been an arrow. All right, there's two things I'd like to know. Is the angle of that hole, is it perfectly straight down? Is it angled in any which way? And what is down at the bottom of that hole? What is at the bottom of the hole? What kind of material is it? And that would give me an indication of its, you got to look what you can look at. So, that's all you can do, is to see, is there a trajectory here, or is it just a hole they draw? I have no idea which way it is. But I did show that Arrowhead. Pete sent me, he says, look, take a look at this, and boy, I tell you, it's got a look. Okay, my friends, it just keeps getting stranger and stranger. Somebody commented that somebody created this hole in the head excavating it. Well, I thought, oh, that could be. So because they put a cap on here, what it is, it's a little bit offset. And I was saying that could be an arrowhead. My buddy Pete mentioned it. And the more I look at it, I can't discount that whatsoever. Now, somebody mentioned that hole was known about. I didn't realize it. So I go up here and look, and sure enough, let me show you what I did find. All right, here's the deal. This is Hawass. He's an archaeologist there, Zahi Hawass. Now, there's a bunch of little tunnels here. So let's go and look at what's going on with this. Okay, there's Hawass. Now, he's walking down towards the head. You can see the size of this thing. It's pretty good size. Now, this was an ancient drawing, it looks like to me, a sketch of the back of the head. Now, there's a little tunnel, a cavity going in there. Now, this was the cap on the top that they made a nice seal so that it wouldn't fill up with water and put a cover on it. But this is what it looked like before. So whoops. I'm going to dive in on that so you can see close. There was a hole there. Nobody put that there. I mean, they think, their guess was now that it might have been a hole that they were going to put a headdress into in antiquity, but it never was finished. It says this was taken in 1925 during the Emil Marazzi excavations, and this what this guy mentioned to me. It was he said he dug it, but no, they just saw it was here, and then he went down and tried to look at it. Now, what I want to know is what angle is it going on? Is it on an angle? Is it just straight down? And what is at the bottom of that pit? Could it be the end of an arrow tip, or the end of the shaft of the arrow, or what did they find when they dug down there? Because I guess it's about 6 feet deep, they say. I'd like to know what is inside. Because I found something else. This just blew me away. I couldn't even believe it, and I'm still not sure I believe it, but it certainly appears to be the case. There's what they call shaft D. All right, let's take a look at that. This is shaft A. Shaft D is the one we want to look at next. All right, you see this? This is what it says right here. This is shaft D, covered here. It allows access to the upward curve of the rump. This is the rump, and the upward curve of the rump. So going right through here would be probably at the end of your digestive system or your sex organs or whatever not, if it's a creature. And guess what? This right is in that butt area. It looks like a vagina to me, or it could be an anus. I have no idea. But I'm going to tell you right now, That certainly looks like biology to me. I think that could be checked out a little closer. It's just not a natural cave, I don't think. Well, I mean, it is natural, but I think that's the creature's body. And it's hard to say, but I would, well, it's hard to say. It could be just an anus, but it could be a vagina too. I don't know. All right, pay attention to this now. It said in the ancient text that Hercules shot all the giants with arrows as they were laid dying. And that, I think, could very well be an arrowhead. You see that? And this looks to me, this looks like the shaft of the arrow, and this looks like something's wrapped around it to hold that arrowhead in position. And that's how they used to make arrows, I don't know, long ago. Now, this should not be sticking out of here. This is supposed to be a nasal cavity. That's sticking out. You see the shadow? The sun is coming this way. You got a shadow here, and you got a shadow here. This is sticking up off his face, and it should not be there. There's none over here. That should not be there. That, I would say, it looks to me like it could very well have been an arrow. It comes straight down here and come right down there. Now, I would like to see, is there any angle to this? Is it straight down? Or is there some kind of an angle? Who knows? But there was a guy standing in here, and that would be about right for this big of a shaft. All right, so this needs to be looked at, because now we can examine these things. I'm going to tell you right now, I looked at this very carefully, and it has the veins, the arteries, and it appears now to have the sex organs too, or the digestive system, one or the other's coming out of it. Now this is where it gets a little crazy, because you know, you wouldn't expect it to weather like this. You would expect it to weather like rounded, to my way of thinking. Now, was there a lot more up over at the top and it weathered off, and then you get these slabs? I'm telling you, we are made in layers like this. Now, this looks a little too layered, and you know, it could have certainly been constructed. I'm not saying that's not the case. And there's bricks all over the outside of it to protect it, apparently. And you know, when you look at it, it's hard to think, but then I look and I see like bloody spots. I would have to really be on site looking at this, because there's blood coming out of it. There's a vein and artery. The head was alive. That I'm absolutely certain of. The rest, but I'm seeing, you know, I do see blocks in nature. They just happen to come blocky, and they do come in layers. Now, is this that? I don't know. Was it constructed? I don't know. But I'm telling you right now, that looks to me like blood. And you could come up, see, this is the key. This can be looked at. It's not going anywhere. It's here. And again, that's that spot, this spot, and this one here. See, this, you know, it's weathering in a very strange pattern. And, you know, this I don't know. I just don't know. I'd have to look at it close. But all those look like they could be vascular stuff. The weathering pattern looks extremely strange. I have to agree. But that shaft D certainly looks like some kind of biological orifice. And that, again, could be looked at. These are the things they could be looked at, so why not look at them? All right, all I can say is I have no idea about this, but I do see where there is likely blood flowing in here. Now, is it possible? I don't know. And again, shaft D has that look. So I'm going to leave it at this, but make sure you go up to, hold on. Okay, you should come up and watch this, because it will introduce you to the Sphinx and tell you about like these balls and how the cracks in the Sphinx happened, and how I can relate these different things, and the difference between these balls up here that were extremely cracked up and these balls down here that were perfect, and they had come from something like that. You see the difference between these? This one's on the bottom and the ones up on the top of the hill that were all cracked up. I go through all kinds of little details about this and talk about the Sphinx. So come up and watch this one. What do we really know about the Sphinx in Egypt if you haven't seen it? The other one I just did today updates on, I think it could very well have been the body of a creature. And when I started to look at how they excavated it, they were really kind of sloppy. And they might have dug in a little deep on these edges here, because they were hanging all over here. I got a picture of it here somewhere. You see them here? Now they might have just dug and dug and dug, and when they hit layers of tissue, they just stopped digging and keep going down to the next one. I don't know. I had seen places on here that looked as though where the bricks were off, it looked as though it could have been tissue. So I was sort of skeptical, but when I saw that shaft D, I would have to get a lot more details on that, extreme details. And I don't have to be there to know. It's easy to test now. They can do it all kinds of ways. You know, there's chemistry, there's photography, microscopy, there's all kinds of ways. DNA and everything. I mean, I hate the thought of all of this crazy DNA being reconstituted, but what are you going to do? So anyway, that's it for today. I love you all, and I hope we can finally get some truth about our actual ancient past. These things are very, very disturbing to academia, because it just changes a lot of the things they've been saying. Well, virtually everything. So, like I said, I understand their pushback, but it's not right, because truth is truth, and those are the ones that are supposed to be. We trusted them to bring us truth, and I have found it's exactly the opposite. Truth is not even in their curriculum. Truth is just outside the borders of education. Education is indoctrination and domination. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you that, but it is a fact, my friends, and I love you all.